Welcome and thank you for being here. Joining me today, I'm John Donnelly, Chief of the District of Columbia Fire and EMS Department, and I'm representing the Unified Command Team that is operating today. I'm joined today by Deputy Mayor Lindsay Appiah, Metropolitan Police Department Executive Chief, Assistant Chief Jeff Carroll, Clint Osborne, the Homeland Security and Emergency Management Agency Director for the District of Columbia, the Military District Washington, the Metropolitan Washington Airports Authority, from both the fire and police chiefs, the United States Coast Guard, the Maryland State Police, the Virginia Department of Emergency Management, and the Virginia State Police. And I'd like to thank all of them for being here as well. We are here at Reagan National Airport with our Unified Command Team, and we will provide an update on where recovery efforts stand. We'll also give more information about the cadence of updates from Unified Command going forward. I'm joined today by Terry Lyric from the Metropolitan Washington Airports Authority and the other members of the Unified Command Team. As we continue to learn more about the victims, we are sharing our prayers and condolences with the families of the loved ones and those who were lost in this tragedy. And I want to thank again our response teams for their heroic efforts over the past 30 or so hours, including the team on this site, as well as the teams that are supporting the families. This is heartbreaking work. The National Transportation Safety Board is leading the investigation into what happened, and they will be providing updates later this afternoon. We will not be talking about the investigation in this conference. So Terry Lyric from the Metropolitan Washington Airports Authority will now provide an update on airport operations, and then I will update you on the activities since our last briefing and the activities over the next operational period.
Thank you, Chief. Again, my name is Terry Lyric. I'm the Vice President Airport Manager of Reagan National Airport. Just kind of wanted to give an update on where we stand. As we know, the airport is open and operating. We are in a reduced capacity and a reduced arrival rate due to the proximity of the recovery site. We do have 2 of our 3 runways that are closed. So as always, we do want to encourage passengers to reach out to their airlines for any potential flight delays. Typically a full schedule here at National Airport would encompass about 800 flights a day using those 3 runways. We've had several, obviously, cancellations yesterday. Airlines are resuming as much as possible normal operations. I think we have about 100 flights or so canceled today. I do want to just recognize a lot of the airport teams who work behind the scenes, and we are here to support and coordinate with the ongoing recovery efforts, as well as working with NTSB in their investigation. With that, I'll just turn over my remarks to the next speaker. Thank you.
So, overnight, our teams continued search operations and surface work, including side sonar scanning, shoreline searches, and aerial searches. Also, 2 Coast Guard cutters have arrived on station, and you may be able to see them out there on the water. Other efforts off-site included the NTSB, American and PAL Airlines, and district officials meeting with families at the Family Assistance Center and providing the support that they need to get through this horrible event. We've we have recovered 41 sets of remains, and 28 of those victims have been positively identified. And as of 6 a.m. this morning, next of kin notifications have been made to 18 families. Going forward with our recovery operations, search teams will continue to work the site. We'll do side sonar scanning, searching the shoreline, and aerial operations. Our dive teams are working in targeted areas, and additional Coast Guard assets will arrive this afternoon. The salvage crews have begun to arrive on the scene, and they're assessing the work that's going to be needed to recover the aircraft from the water. We expect those operations to begin no later than tomorrow afternoon. The teams are also working the shoreline down the river, as we do expect some debris to be dragged by the current, And if members of the public believe they have information or have discovered potential wreckage, we're asking you not to touch it and to call 911, and we will send somebody out to get it. Supporting the response team. This has been a tough response for a lot of our people. We've had over 300 responders operating at one time, and I think we've got about 500 people that have worked through the site. So the Unified Command has activated peer support for its first responders to make sure that everybody has somebody that can help us get through this. And the outpouring of support, people like the World Central Kitchens Relief Team and many of the local restaurants, the restaurants here at the airport, have supported the people working, making sure they have food so they don't have to stop. And I want to thank the rest of the community for their outpouring of support and the messages that they have given to the firefighters, police officers, military officials, and everybody else that's working. If you want to help, the Greater Washington Community Foundation has a relief fund. You can donate at the link above. We also, be careful, avoid your fundraising scams, only trust verified sources, and ways you can help is to amplify that message using trusted sources on social media. Exercise patience through the transition as this impacts the region. Things like the delays at the airport, people are going to need your grace. I know we've got a lot of vehicles around. We've got some areas closed that are normally open to the public around the river, and we need your patience in that. Check in on your friends and neighbors, and if you're feeling anything about this event, please call the crisis hotline, talk to a medical professional, and you can use 988 on your phone. What have we got here? Is that the last one? So with that, we're going to be able to take a few questions. I'm going to start over here, and we'll work our way across. 1, 2, 3. Yes, sir.
Hi, it's Campbell Roberts from the New York Times. Can you talk about the FAA's decision to restrict helicopter flights in and around National Airport?
So the question is, can anybody talk about the FAA's decision to restrict flights in and around National Airport? I don't believe we have any. So that's probably beyond the scope of this interview. You'll have the NTSB later, and that's something I might ask them. Yes, sir.
Chief Skylar Heather with CBS News. Given the time that has passed, can you describe the conditions right now as it relates to the recovery process and whether you all think that y'all will be able to recover more bodies?
Okay, the question was, given the time that has passed and the conditions outside, do we believe we're going to be able to recover more bodies? And there's a lot of challenges with that. So I'm going to answer that one. I'm going to say that, yes, we expect to recover all of the bodies. We have that's why our teams are still working. We're going to have to work with the salvage company to do some of that work. Yes, sir.
If I may ask a question on behalf of the Reagan National Airport. This is Alex Capriello with News Nation. A lot of questions now circulating about the crowded airspace surrounding this airport. Also reports about other close calls, including 24 hours before the fatal accident. We've seen the FAA take the position of restricting the airspace, specifically Route 1 and 4 for choppers in this area. What is the airport's position about potentially toning down some of the air traffic around this airport, and should this have been done sooner, specifically the restrictions on the airspace for choppers on Route 1 and 4?
Yeah, sure. The question was regarding air traffic, helicopter routes up and down the Potomac, right? That is an FAA responsibility. The airspace is controlled by the FAA. The airport does not have any responsibility outside of the surfaces, the airport itself.
But most certainly, this has been conversations that you've had, and when it comes to safety for the airport, for the passengers that come in and out of D.C.
Absolutely. The FAA does regulate the airport, and we follow all FAA safety regulations. Again, all I can say is the FAA is responsible for the airspace.
And very briefly, a question for the chief. Sir, how long do you expect it to take for the salvage to be removed from the river to recover the bodies and do everything that's necessary to bring closure for these families?
So we're working as fast as we can. I'm not going to be able to give a timeline on that as there's a lot of unknowns. But we hope that we have we have more salvage equipment here tomorrow, and that operation can begin then. So next three questions. 1, 2, 3.
Chief Perry Russell, ABC News. How is weather affecting recovery efforts? Rain today, rain forecast later. What are the elements inside the river? How has all of this affected recovery?
So the question is, how does the weather affect the recovery operation? In my view, it may slow it down slightly, but all of the units out here, all of the people working, work year-round in all conditions. We're going to be careful. We're going to make sure we don't hurt anybody else, but the weather we've seen so far is weather we can work in. If that were to change, that would affect it, but we haven't seen that. I would get one question at a time.
Chief, you talked earlier about access to the site and to gain access to that area. We don't think that ice was a real problem that day, but the John Glenn has been out of service for some time. Do you have an update on when that vessel can be put back in
So
service?
the question is access to the site, and the John Glenn is the fireboat for the District of Columbia. So what I referred to on access to the site is things like Gravelly Point being closed and that being lost as a local recreation area while we're working. There was some ice on the river. We made good access to the site with everybody else. The John Glenn, as has been reported, is one of the district's fireboats. It is not the primary asset for this type of operation, and while it's in the shop, it didn't affect anything, and we hope to have it back by this summer. Yes, sir.
Mr. Lyric, I have a follow-up question about the runway closures. Grady Trimble with Fox. So you said 2 of 3 are closed because of their proximity to the crash site.
Yeah.
Can you explain why they remain closed?
Sure, absolutely. So the question is, why are 2 of the 3 runways here at National Airport closed? So if you're familiar with the runway configurations here, we have a main north-south runway, and we have 2 what we call crosswind runways. The 2 crosswind runways, if aircraft were to take off or land over the aircraft recovery site that is out there right now, those would be impactful to the operation. So we've elected to keep those runways closed.
And to follow up, how long do you expect that to remain the case? And are you saying that if there are still recovery teams in the Potomac, then there's no chance that these 2 runways are going to open, and how does that impact?
Yep, sure. So the question is asking how long we anticipate those runways to be closed. That's a dynamic situation. We've worked with the FAA. I think what we've communicated is we anticipate, our expectation is a week. However, we'll reassess on Monday, and as the recovery efforts go, it's a fluid situation, obviously. Yep.
Okay, Paul, here and there.
Chief, by talking salvage, can you confirm that you're not going to be able to recover the remaining bodies until you're able to get the fuselage off the floor of the river and onto a barge? And then my follow-up to that is, are you making an effort today to get into the helicopter to recover those 2 bodies?
So the question is, do we believe we have to lift the aircraft out of the water in order to finish and find the rest of the remains? And the second part of the question was, are we focused on the helicopter today? And the answer to the first question is yes. I believe for us to recover the rest of the remains that we are going to need to get the fuselage out of the water. The second part of the question is yes, a lot of our operations, not all of them, but a lot of our operations today are focused on the helicopter. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, this question is for Mr. Lyric. I'm about Fox 5 DC. Can you confirm sufficient staffing moving forward in the tower? I don't know if that's in your scope or if that's...
It's not. So the question was regarding staffing in the air traffic control tower. That's outside my scope of responsibility.
Chief Donnelly, can you talk a little bit about the role of the stadium on your team, specifically how many people still remain? I know on day 1 there were upwards of 300 mutual aid. Who's still out there?
So, you know, this is an incident where even if it doesn't affect you right now, it's probably going to affect you later. It'll be something that you think about. So in emergency services across the board, we have support teams. The National Capital Region, all of the departments do, so they've been activated. The International Association of Firefighters regional peer support team has been activated to help support. And the incident management team, as they rotate responders through the scene, are making sure that there are opportunities for them to get the assistance they need. I'm going to ask the Virginia State Police to talk about the peer support he's doing a little bit.
I'm First Sergeant Blank with the State Police in Virginia. We are working with our partners. MWA is leading the support for the effort for peer support, but I'm here in support of that effort, and we have several regional partners that are contributing to that, including mental health professionals who are on site from ANOVA and from a nonprofit in the area that are providing support. The Virginia Law Enforcement Assistance Program is also planning to send support, and all of the most of the public safety agencies in the region are providing personnel to assist with that effort.
Yes, ma'am.
Larry Elkhart with DC News Now. I know that this is an unpleasant question for you, Chief, but we've been hearing reports of people that live along the river and potentially seeing partial remains coming up on shore. People are seeing this. Is that anything you're hearing towards that way of keeping people away from some of these shore?
So we're not keeping anybody away from the shoreline for any of those reasons. If we've closed off an area like Gravelly Point here, it's because we have emergency access vehicles coming in and out, and we need the access to the river. We have received some 911 calls about either debris or remains. I don't know that we've actually found any remains. We've certainly picked up debris from those 911 calls. So we're going to do 3 more and go 1, 2, and 3 in the back. Yes, sir.
Thanks, Chief. Jonathan Kersney from Channel 9 Australia. This is a question for Terry. Terry, as Vice President and Manager of this airport, what concerns have you had specifically about the congested airspace, and have you ever raised those directly with the FAA?
So again, the United States airspace is the safest in the world. Safety is one of our top priorities, and we continue to ensure that the airport is safe for operations.
To follow up on that, it wasn't safe in this instance. There have been near misses here before. You would have been made aware of those as manager of this airport. Have you raised concerns with the FAA about the congested airspace around Washington's airport?
Yeah, I can say again, we work with the FAA, we're regulated by the FAA, we comply with all FAA safety regulations.
But that doesn't answer the question.
Yes, sir.
Can you talk about how much debris has been removed to Hangar 7? And at some point, will that operation be transitioned to a private company, the NTSB? Will hire, or will you guys actually install the debris in the hangar?
So that's an investigation question and appropriate for NTSB this afternoon.
We'll take 2 more.
Yes, sir.
Tom Rathwick, Channel 7. I had a question for Terry as well. As far as the airport took a position against adding extra long-distance flights out of here, and one of the concerns was there's just too much already going on. Do you maintain those concerns because they're supposed to start in the next few months? Are you concerned about safety as those extra flights start?
Yep, thanks, Tom. So the question was regarding the additional slots to DCA. As you know, the slots are federally controlled, federally mandated, and we have to follow federal regulations.
Are you still concerned about them? I mean, the airport's authority was concerned at the time.
Yes, again, we have to follow the federal regulations on the slot controls. Yep.
That's it.
Hi, Jim Spellman,
Yeah.
CGTN. Here, one more question for you. You're talking about the FAA, Congress, federally mandated, et cetera. Where does the buck stop with this accident and ensuring that the next flight to take off from this runway is safe?
So again, the question is really directed to the FAA and Congress, I believe.
Yeah. One last question is right here.
You have 41 victims recovered. Are you confident in the location of the others? Where are they? Are you confident that you know where they are?
So I think we know where they are. We won't know until we're done. I mean, we're going to continue the search operation, but we've searched a large portion of this river, and we are right there. So, I didn't read. So the question. Let me answer the question again, or let me restate the question. Sorry. The question was, are we confident we know where the other remains are, and that it couples with the question about removing the aircraft. I believe that when we remove the aircraft, that will help us resolve this number. If it doesn't, we will continue the search. Okay.
That's the process. You take the salvage, the fuselage out. You're going to put it on just reiterate that process, what that looks like. Removing it, putting it on a barge. Is that right?
So some of that isn't decided yet. We'll have to see what the salvage team is doing once they get all of their equipment here. So we may have more on that tomorrow, but so I don't know the exact process today. So thank you all for coming today. We hopefully we answered your questions. We are going to do this again tomorrow. I don't have the time yet, but we will push that out so we can provide the same type of update. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
There we go.
Mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Is the level?
Yeah, I'm getting
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Ashburn Ice House. My name is Rob Lorenzen, General Manager of the Ashburn Ice House. Thank you all for coming. I was hoping that today was going to begin returning to some normalcy in the building with children skating on both sheets of ice, but as you can imagine, this here today is hardly normal for us. So I appreciate your patience in waiting for this press conference and I'm happy to address the group today. Before I begin, I'd like to recognize a few individuals that have been extremely helpful to me and my staff over the last 48 hours. Vicki Bendor of Bendor Communications and her staff, thank you for your help and support and guidance in your communications. To Kate, representing the United States Figure Skating Association, is here providing counseling already for our skaters and families. To Chairman Phyllis Randall, thank you for being here with us today. From the Loudoun County Board of Supervisors, and Mr. Mike Turner, representing the county with us here today. You may not know this, but the Ashburn Ice House is a far-reaching member of the skating community. Not only do I and my senior staff here at the Ice House manage this facility, we manage a second facility, the MedStar Capitals Iceplex in Arlington, Virginia. So our reach is widespread amongst this skating community. And our connections is regional to the many skaters been affected by this tragedy. As mentioned yesterday, the skating community is a very tight-knit community. It's made up of many families throughout the region. Many children spend long hours here practicing daily, which means their parents spend long hours here, which means we get to know the families on a very intimate level. My interactions daily in this building have me communicating with those skaters, those parents, those families. So it's been a very emotional time for us managing through these 48 hours. We were devastated to learn that the members of our skating community were on American flight from Wichita that crashed Wednesday night. While we still do not have confirmation list of names for all those people, we believe there are as many as 14 individuals that are affected through these two facilities. Because we do not have a confirmed list, I will not be able to name names or confirm names for you today. Our hearts go out to everyone involved. This is such a terrible tragedy and so counterintuitive to the environment that we typically provide. This is an area of recreation. People come here to have fun, relax, enjoy their children. It's an area of joy and fun. And to experience the last 48 hours with none of that present has been trying. We're currently providing counselors to our staff members and skaters. We're working to set up an opportunity for donations to the skaters directly affected here at the Ashburn Ice House. Please stay tuned and watch our website for that information as that becomes available. We've scheduled a candlelight skate this weekend. It is a private event for our skating families only. Out of respect for their privacy, we will not allow the public or the press in attendance. So please respect our wishes there. At this time, we ask for your prayers and condolences for the families, as well as the respect for their privacy. I'm here representing our staff and the Ashburn Ice House specifically. I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone may have if I can, but please understand that I won't be speaking directly about any specific individuals involved. At that time, I'm happy at this time to take any questions if anyone should. Lisa. Between our two facilities, the Ice House and MedStar Capital Iceplex, there's been up to 14 individuals affected.
And are you referring to skaters in addition to perhaps families?
Skaters, coaches, family, totaling up to 14.
I know there was a coach on board. Can you describe the impact, the special relationship, considering the demanding nature of this sport, the unique relationship coaches have with the skaters here?
No question that bond is very tight. Ask any skater that competes at this level, and they'll tell you how important their coach is to their success. They're here training 10 and 12 hours a day. The coaches specifically are on the ice that long. They work tirelessly, and they're passionate about their coaching, and it's reflected in their students for sure.
14 people is a staggering number. Talk about the degree of loss to these two facilities and well beyond.
If you imagine the family impact and how widespread that can be, it's not just the individual. It's not just their family, it's their extended family. We feel part of their extended family, so we feel it. And for me personally, that's been one of the toughest things to absorb through this.
Of course, a place of fun, recreation. Over the past 48 hours, how have you embraced, this has become kind of a place for people to heal, people to cry, to remember.
Yeah.
How have you embraced that festival?
Look at this. The outpouring has been tremendous, and we're just happy to provide the vehicle for that outpouring and to be a place within the community that individuals can come to and reflect. Has certainly felt healing for me, and I believe for the others here as well.
We are in such a giving community, and I know you mentioned you'll be putting more information on your website, but in the meantime, is there any way that people can help who want to lend a helping hand during this difficult time?
Please reach out to Vicki on our behalf. She's handling a lot of our communications in that respect. We are happy for the support and much appreciative. Would like to use her as that resource on that question. Thank you.
And thank you so much for doing this, because I know it is very sensitive, heartbreaking situation.
Thank you.
Can you say the age range of the ice skaters who sadly lost their lives?
Our typical range of skaters here, we accommodate skaters from ages 4 to 94. The figure skating community specifically and the competitive skaters involved range from 10 to 14.
And the skaters here, they're so talented. I mean, they're amazing. And can you just talk about what they were doing at the development camp? And
Sure.
I was told, that's quite an achievement and honor to be able to go to that.
Correct. The individuals that advance to the National Skating Development Camp are the best in their age level. They're one step away from world competition and the Olympics. To reach that pinnacle takes an army. The coaches, the family, the parents, the time and commitment. They're at that highest level for their age group. And for us to have as many individuals participating in that camp as we had was exceptional, quite honestly.
And I see there's service dogs here. I don't know if you can touch on, their impact, how they're helping, and how long they may be
Thank
here.
you. Thank you. As I mentioned, people don't know how I skipped it, but I certainly wanted to acknowledge the wagging warriors, these two lovely animals that have been with us all day today, comforting our children, comforting the skaters coming to the building today, had that resource. And if you were here and watched it and felt it, it was important and certainly heartwarming to see.
Can you speak to the additional layer, the additional challenge of facing loss of such young lives? And do you know the age range of the victims? I know Sarah had touched on that, but of the victims, and how are you coming to terms with just the age range of these victims?
I don't know that there's a word that I can describe it. Tragic, unimaginable, devastating. The age range is, as I mentioned, in that age range. Please don't quote me on a specific age of the individuals affected, but it's that much harder.
Sir, you mentioned the candlelight skate event is close at the public this weekend.
Correct.
If there are members of the public either here or across the country that would like to help out and offer their support, how can they?
Please keep an eye on our website. We will post those opportunities for help and support. Vicki, representing our public relations firm, would be happy to help organize that and collect that information. So we appreciate the outpouring from the community.
Can you describe just the extent of conversations you had, especially with the young people here, what they're telling you that they're feeling and going through right now?
Not me personally. I think if you feel that you'd like to speak to their parents or others, I think that'd be a better resource to ask those questions.
On that note, I wonder if anyone here might be willing to share some memories or would like to react in this moment.
I think without the release of the names and individuals confirmed in this tragedy, I won't speak on behalf of those relationships. We don't really have anyone else prepared to speak today, so I would say no, that no one else is prepared to have that kind of an interaction today.
To those watching this, who are friends and family of the victims, what do you want to tell them?
Our hearts are with them, is all I think I can say, is that we're thinking of them as much as this has affected us and our business and our community personally. It's certainly more touching for them.
Sir, can you speak about the bond that is created here, considering how much time is spent in this work, the bond between families and between skaters, and how you're all relying on one another to help get through this time?
Sure. I could tell you my own experience in interacting with the skaters, the parents, the community daily in my role in this building. You form those personal relationships, and that's what helps you through it. I can reach out to any of those members of this community and have any conversation with them at any time, and I think that helps in the grieving process. I thank you all for being here. I'm going to step aside and thank Vicki again for her support. Thank the Wagging Tails for being here. You can see the children enjoying that company now. I appreciate all your support. Thank you so much for coming today. Thank you.
Thank you.
plug in?
No, even if I could, this is his gear.
Oh, gotcha. I got plenty of power if you need to plug it in.
My car.
They're all like looking in that center area there. Oh, this part's getting hectic now. Okay.
Maybe they just
So just kind of stand there, though.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Todd Inman. I'm the board member on scene, and we'll be briefing tonight where we're at in the investigation in regard to the CRJ accident with the Sikorsky helicopter. Let me just start with, as usual, our hearts go out to all the families of the victims. In fact, I just spent the last several hours with them before we came here, and I apologize that we had to move this back. But they are one of our primary concerns, along with making sure we get factual information out. They are having it's a hard time for them, obviously. And we want to do everything we can to make sure they get the most accurate information and factual. And has always been at the core of the NTSB mission, our job is to just come out with the probable cause, but then more importantly, make recommendations so that this type of tragedy never occurs again. So today, I know yesterday you saw the chairman, myself, and all the board members here. I just want to let you know they are still actively involved with this. We're just trying to make sure we're dividing and conquering. The chairman and I have had multiple conversations today. She's helped out a lot in making sure we're getting the investigative needs we have. And she's at the command post right now working with some of our people. I'd like to start by just thanking the first responders. When this first happened, a unified command was set up, and we had a lot of important people that came and worked with us. In Virginia, the Fairfax County Fire and Rescue, Fairfax County Fire and Rescue Department, Arlington County Fire and Rescue, Arlington County Emergency Management, Arlington Police, Alexandria City Fire, Alexandria Police, Virginia State Police, the NCR Incident Management Team, the Virginia Department of Emergency Management, the Virginia Department of Transportation, the Virginia Senator Warner's office, MWA's Fire and Rescue Team, MWA Police. A special shout out to every one of them. MWA has been amazing in helping and working with us, and we're truly appreciative. Along with DC Fire and Rescue, just extraordinary taking the lead. Prince William Fire and Rescue. In Maryland, the Montgomery Fire and Rescue, Prince George's Fire and Rescue, Charles County Fire and Rescue, Baltimore Fire, Baltimore Police, Anne Arundel Fire Department, Maryland State Police, Maryland Natural Resource Police, MPD, DCFD, From the federal side, the U.S. Coast Guard, U.S. Army, U.S. Air Force, FBI, Secret Service, Customs and Border Patrol, Park Police, DOD, Naval District Washington, American Medical Response, and yes, the U.S. Department of Labor. All of those have been amazing partners and are one of the reasons why that this investigation continues to progress the way we want it to. As I said, we did family briefings last night, and today there are over 100 family members that are now in the area receiving briefings, and as part of a legislative requirement, receiving family assistance. They have been briefed by the medical examiner, the fire chief, NTSB chairman, and myself, along with the family assistant unit from PSA Airlines. In regard to NTSB staff, all staff are now on scene that have been requested, and I want to point out one specific staff member because we're doing a joint NTSB and DOD investigation. The NTSB actually has a Black Hawk certified pilot on staff, on our personal staff, based out of Alaska. Once we realized the dynamics and the intricacies of the Black Hawk, we have brought that member in. They are on scene now, providing direct technical assistance to the NTSB. Now, it does not mean that the DOD is not working and helping with us, but in order to maintain our independence, we have our own Black Hawk certified pilot in the working group for helicopters. Regarding salvage at this point, the Navy Supervisor of Salvage is conducting salvage operations at the current time. Barges are en route from Virginia Beach, and we anticipate them to be on scene early tomorrow morning. After their arrival, they will be secured and located, and then significant salvage operations will continue. They are ongoing right now, but this will be the main lifting. It's being done in conjunction with the DC Medical Examiner's Office in order to make sure simultaneously that any additional victims are recovered and immediately turned over to them for identification and returned to their families. SupSalv, which is the supervisor of salvage, is also conducting a debris mapping right now. This will help in our post-accident analysis of how the machine actually reacted to the incident. It'll also help us with understanding some of the airworthiness and crashworthiness and human factors. We have right now two distinct debris fields. One that houses the Sikorsky, which is in comparison to the CRJ, a little bit smaller. The CRJ is in another distinct area, and we consider a little bit larger. The good news is, based upon the initial mapping, while there are some small aspects of that debris field, there are large chunks that will be easily recoverable, and it will aid in the investigation when we bring it into the secured facility that will be located here on MY. That will help us in the close proximity to be able to review and evaluate. Yesterday, we outlined for you a number of groups that have been stood up. A few of them in particular I want to call out, although every one of them have been working very hard. For your edification, the ATC group, Air Traffic Control, has been conducting interviews today. They're ongoing tonight. They will be ongoing for probably the next few days. We've had full cooperation in getting the witnesses that we need to gain those interviews. We will then take that information and match it with other data that we're receiving, and if necessary, conduct follow-up interviews at a later time. Our operations group now has on site an exemplar airplane similar to the CRJ 700. It's on a hard stand here at MWA. They will use that to evaluate cockpit configuration, seating, things like that. So whenever the salvage comes up, we're able to use an exemplary aircraft to match it against examples such as where maybe switches are, navigational aids, electronics. It is almost the exact same configuration as the incident aircraft. I want to clarify one thing. There's been a lot of questions and discussion regarding manifest. Let me make this very clear. The NTSB will not and has not released a manifest. We have not in our history, not in our past. We will not be in this accident. In fact, there's specific congressional language that whenever it is in our possession, it is not available through the Freedom of Information Act. It will not be included in our report. We will not be putting any names of any of the victims. Any release of that information will come from other individuals or groups. Regarding the recorders, as many of you saw last night, we recovered from the CRJ 2 separate recorders. One was a FDFR, that is a flight data recorder. FD. That was actually in what we consider good condition. As part of that process, it was soaked in alcohol overnight. It was then opened today, and we have a high level of confidence that we will be able to get a full download in the very near future. Now, once we do have that download, we will not be releasing immediately the information regarding it. We will have to go through, correct the data sets, make sure they're synchronized. This has approximately up to possibly 2,000 data points. Is that right, Bryce? So all of that has to be synchronized and looked at. It's a very laborious practice. It takes a lot of time. Regarding the CRJ's cockpit voice recorder, once it was recovered and opened, we found that it had water intrusion. That is not uncommon. It is not an unusual event for us to receive a recorder with water intrusion. We deal with that all the time. Our recorders division is one of the best in the country, in the world actually. We have recorders sent everywhere, so there's a step. The CVR was soaked overnight in ionized water, at which point the team put the CVR into a vacuum oven in order to extract moisture. They are still checking electrical connections to determine if they're ready to try a download. It is one step of many steps that we will take in order to get that data, but we have a very high level of confidence that we will have it. We just have to work through a number of steps. Lastly, on recorders, the Sikorsky, where the CRJ has 2 separate recorders, the Sikorsky has a combined cockpit voice recorder and digital flight data recorder. It's in one box. I can report to you now, we have recovered the Sikorsky black box. It is safely at the NTSB headquarters. It will begin an evaluation, just as the other 2 recorders did last night, to determine when and how to take action. I can tell you from a visual inspection, we saw no exterior damage that would indicate that it was compromised at this time. So we have a high level of confidence that we will be able to have a full extraction from that as well. Those are some of the significant updates we have right now. Obviously, we'll be doing some more in the essence of time and making sure our team gets back. I think we're going to be able to take maybe 4 or 5 questions. I'll call on you and I'll repeat it. So we'll try to play that game a little bit, please. Right here.
Thank you very much.
Your name and outlet, please.
Jonathan Kersley from Channel 9 Australia. Captain Sully Sullivan was one of the heroes of the incident on the Hudson, said that he said we absolutely should be reviewing airspace, not just here but in other places in the desert. A complex mix of traffic. Is he right? Is there time for a permanent shift in DC and across the country to keep airspace safe and separate between military and civilian air?
So the question for those watching, is it this time now for us to possibly deconflict or change some of the airspace where military aircraft operate with commercial aircraft? I can't give you a definitive answer on that. What I can say is in this incident, it should not have happened. We have in aviation what's called a Swiss cheese approach, wherein if something fails, a backup should catch it. Multiple layers of redundancy. It's been a very long time since we've had a major aviation incident in the United States, and that's the reason why it's one of the safest forms of transportation in the country. But the only way they do that is by investigating what happens now and then making recommendations in the future. Again, the NTSB has done 100,000 aviation investigations. We've issued 15,000 recommendations. Over 84% have been accepted. Once this investigative report comes out, we will be advocating probably for years for changes that need to be made, but we'll not speculate on what needs to be done until we have the facts.
Todd, is there anything obvious?
Hey, I'll call on people. Sorry.
Member Dave Jefferson from Reuters. Can you talk about how long you think it will take to recover the debris, how long you plan to be at site, and have you got any early data yet off the ATC tapes?
I think that was 3 or 4 together. How long the debris will take, how long we'll be on site, and have we gotten any information off of the air traffic control tapes. The debris, we are hopeful once the mapping is done that it will be done in what I will call quick order. And I can make no guarantees of that because first and foremost, we need to make every effort and to make sure we're recovering every one of the people that perished in this accident. We'll have some cranes that'll be coming up, and once that happens, you'll see a lot more activity, and we'll be moving that in, but I don't want to give you a definitive time. I would say it will start in earnest probably on Sunday, and it will go through next week, and some of that's contingent upon weather and other things. Regarding the ATC tapes, we've received a lot of different information on ATC, and so I'm just going to preempt it. Off-the-shelf software programs are not always as accurate as the data we specifically get from NTSB, from the black boxes. All of that are factors that come into our investigation. So we will not speculate about ATC tapes that you may have heard and seen online or snippets. We are getting the full cooperation that we need to be able to make an accurate assessment and to make sure what we are saying is factual and that it will help and aid in the entire investigation. You?
Todd, Steve Cooper from Channel 7 in Boston. Is there anything glaring from the videos that we've all seen that would tell you that the pilot in the Black Hawk helicopter made a mistake?
The question is, based on the videos, have we drawn any conclusions? We have not. We know that there was a significant incident in which the 2 aircraft collided, a pretty significant fireball. If you will recall, even after the first day, we only had maybe 1 or 2 grainy images that were coming out. We're seeing more and more at this time. So we're still collecting data, but we are not going to opine until we see a lot of other things in there. A couple more?
2 more?
Yes, sir.
On TV with CNN, how critical is it to interview the controller in the tower pad? And how concerning is it to you, the reports that that controller was working 2 positions at the same time?
So the question was, how critical are the air traffic control interviews and basically staffing? So air traffic control interviews are critical. That's the reason why there's a process in place. That began immediately after the accident. It was preservation of that evidence. It was immediately taking down notes, getting logs, all that information. We will go back and look at any air traffic controller that was involved in this. We'll go back and look at their past probably 72 hours, even 2 or 3 weeks. We'll look at their training, their hiring, everything, what they probably ate that day. But it is not one point that tells us everything. It's layered into a lot of other information that's very critical. Regarding staffing, the FAA has had a very robust plan in looking at staffing. Obviously, we'll be looking at not only staffing that day, but progressively staffing. How many people, what job functions they were doing. Were they being combined? Were they not? What was the weather outside? What was the number of landings? I recall back during COVID, 1 runway was being used. Runway 1, that was the only one. 33, as traffic came back, started being opened up. So we would look at changes in traffic patterns, construction at the airport, all of that. It all paints a very big picture. Who are you? Sorry. The question is, have we interviewed air traffic controllers? Yes. I think I started with, sorry. I'm sorry, the clarification, was it an air traffic controller that was working at the time of the accident? Yes. Yes. Now, I'm not going to speculate. Sorry. Nope, sorry. I'm not going to speculate. The next question is, was there 1, 2, 3? I don't have the answer for that right now. I know that the controller that was working at the time has been interviewed, and his interviews are ongoing throughout the day. Yes, ma'am. Last one. The question is, has anyone from the White House reached out to me or other board members? I won't speak for other board members. I know that the chair did a briefing yesterday. It was publicly discussed and gave some information. I have not received any contact. I'm going to go back to something we talked about earlier. The NTSB is an independent, bipartisan board. 58 years as the gold standard. Our job is to find the facts. But more importantly, our job is to make sure this tragedy doesn't happen again, regardless of what anyone may be saying. Our investigators never want to see this happen again, and I never want to have to go back and brief another set of family like that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Why is helicopters flying above 200 feet?
If you go to 49, it's a lot about time.
Hey,